couple quarterback changes, Drew Brown gone, McLeod Bethel Thompson, and just what are your takeaways, I guess, just with Drew Brown moving on, but bringing in McLeod Bethel Thompson?
Yeah, McLeod's won football games for me in the past. Obviously, well, we won a Grey Cup with him. He unfortunately got hurt in that game, but he took us there, right? And he knows the system most importantly. So he's going to come in here. He knows he's going to support Jake, right? Be ready to play when his number's called, and then help with some of these younger guys. He's a good veteran leader that can bring a lot to our locker room.
In terms of Drew moving on too, was just something that just didn't work here, or just something that he wanted?
Yeah, well, he asked for it, right? So when I made the decision to go with Jake, I explained that to Drew, and then later on that day, he wanted to talk. We had a chat, and he just asked for his release. Obviously, we're not going to do that. We were investing money into him, so we've been looking at different avenues to how we're going to handle that solution, and Winnipeg came up with an offer that we really liked, and I knew I could get McLeod in here, so we made that decision.
In terms of McLeod Bethel Thompson coming in here, not here today, but next couple days kind of thing?
Yeah, so he won't be here for this game. We knew that going in, so he's got some stuff at home he's got to handle. So he'll be in probably Sunday or Monday, but he'll be available for the next week. And so, we got him on our 360 app, so he's studying the offense, which again he's been a part of. So he'll be ready for next week on a short week.
Right, Bryson Barnes then will be your backup on Sunday?
Yeah. Bryson, we got all the 2 reps today. He looks sharp. I think Bryson's arrow's up. He's getting better each game. Each week he's practiced, so he showed us a lot in the preseason. And the one thing he can use is his legs, right? So he'll handle our short yardage package. But again, if he goes in there and plays, we feel comfortable with Bryson.
What was it about Drew that didn't fit with you? I mean, like he didn't take a preseason game snap before you decided that Jake was your number one.
Yeah, we're looking for some things in practice that I seen, right? Not necessarily you got to have everything in the game. There's a lot of evaluation that comes in practice, and so we want to be able to push the ball down the field, and that's one of the things that I think Jake gives that opportunity. Obviously, McLeod does as well, and then the marriage didn't work. We tried to make it work. He wasn't happy with the 2. We tried to make it work, and we got a good offer, and so felt that was best for both parties.
Pushing the ball downfield, is that arm strength?
Oh, a little bit has to do with arm strength, obviously, and some mechanics that lead into arm strength. So I mean, you look at last year, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to push the ball down the field. It was one thing that we wanted to get changed this year. So, schematically, we put that in our play action stuff. Now, does the defense give us those looks? We got to start running the football and be able to push the ball down the field and get in those plays.
Was Drew becoming a distraction?
I wouldn't necessarily say a big distraction. I could say it probably was a little bit of a distraction, just how he went about it. But I thought he did his best to support Jake, and he wanted to go someplace else, and so we gave him that opportunity to do that.
What makes McLeod a better fit for?
Well, I think he's got extreme arm strength, right? Mm-hmm. He can drive the ball and hit those 2 balls, up the seam. That's one of his better throws. Familiarity with him. I've won some football games with him. I still think he's playing at a good level. Montreal is a different system for him. I didn't think he really fit that system. I think he's more of a spread guy, and so we're looking to, obviously bring him in, and he'll be available. Jake goes down, and Mac's ready to go.
What was his injury in the Grey Cup game? I should know.
He broke his throwing thumb.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he tried to throw through it a few plays, and he couldn't go. So, yeah, that was tough to have him get to that stage and that point in the game, and then to get injured. But luckily we finished it out the right way.
Would Chad's debut as the number 1 guy been delayed? I've not been injured, and maybe whatever aftermath there was from that.
Well, it probably would have been a discussion. Mac, had some things where he wanted to be in the States. He just had a young daughter, so he decided to go play in that other league, and then went back to Edmonton. We already had Chad established, right? So. We've been in close contact, for the years. I know we went to Edmonton, and then obviously the Montreal. So I believe in him. I know he can get it done, and we'll get him in here next week.
So he's missed all of camp. I don't know what he did at the end after he left Montreal last year, but what has he been doing to stay sharp? How do you have confidence that he'll be able to?
Yeah, he's not going to come in right away and just light the world on fire. We're going to have to do some things that he's comfortable with if he were to have to play. But he's been working out, staying in shape. He's been throwing. So, I've talked to him, about a month ago. I was checking in to see where he was, and, he still wanted to play. So you always got to cover your bases and have plans.
After you watched the film of the last game, did you have any different thoughts about Jake's performance?
Well, I think there's some plays we want back, right?
Yeah.
There's some plays we're trying to stop guys in windows, and we're just a hair off. So we're going there. I think our whole offense is we got to find an identity, right? So that's what our whole thing was. Less is more. Sometimes you're a jack of all trade, master of none. Let's get good at our core concepts. Let's keep building those, and the time will come when we can add more volume to the playbook.
Has there been any? Oh, did you shrink the playbook, or like you talked about it right after the game, going down to 50 plays?
Yeah, well, we installed today, and I'm actually at 43, so I'm normally around 90. So I'm doing my best.
Okay. Was there any other? Was there any injuries that you've learned about since the game, or that is going to keep people out of?
Yeah, so Adai, Bennett Williams, right? Cole. We're kind of looking at those three. We'll have more answers tomorrow. Gino as well, right? He hurt his shoulder in the game, so he fought through it. But if he's not at full strength, that might have to be discussed. We'll maybe look at some other guys. But if he's healthy, ready to go, we'll roll with Gino. But that's one where they're kind of day to day right now.
Yeah, you were sort of asked about the 0-2 start after the game, but give him some time to think about it. Or is it some sort of? I mean, it's cause for concern. Obviously, you want to win. You're coming out of the game, playing some home games. But have you had some thoughts about this start and what you need to do?
Yeah, we got to play better football. Obviously,
Right.
the offensively, we're looking at shrinking it and getting identity. We talked to Will on defense. We're going to shrink that too. I mean, you can't ask certain schemes to handle everything, right? So we got to make sure we play fast, play the techniques we need, understand the down and distance and the voided zones. So we're looking at doing some different things on offense and defense, and that's the answer we got right now. But obviously, we got to go out and execute, do better.
Offensive line, Martez Ivy wasn't out there today, or Zach Pelios in a spot. Any update on that?
Yeah, so we released Martez. Zach went in there last week. I thought he played well. And then one thing with Zach, we brought Martez in for a reason, right? Tackle's a very important position. We handled that in February with Martez. But we like our youth on the practice roster right now. We feel like we got two good American tackles. So that allowed him to be expendable. And, Zach never changed his approach when Ivy was playing. He came to work every day, handled things the right way, and we're going to give him a chance. And the only thing with Zach, we got to make sure we stay healthy. But with that decision, we had two guys on the practice roster we feel really comfortable with.
Defensively, you did a good job of getting after Chad Kelly and hitting him a lot, but still was able to throw. How big is it to kind of try and keep the confidence up on defense, I guess?
Yeah, that's getting back out here and believing in the scheme and building on the scheme as the week goes. You normally build confidence in what you do. So that's where we're focused on defense. Yeah, we hit Chad a few times, but a few other times, right? He was sitting back there eating a sandwich in the pocket. So we got to be more disruptive in the pocket. Different fronts, let our defensive line pass rush, and not have to be you go this gap, you go this gap, not working games, letting our guys get upfield and rush the quarterback.
Hey, Jake, looking back at game against Toronto and now trying to focus on this week, what do you take away from the game that you want to do better against Montreal?
Yeah, I watched it a handful of times. Obviously, being better on first down, not being in so many second and long situations is at the forefront for sure. Yeah, a couple bang plays, but that's every football game. I'm sure every team across the league will say that, like, oh man, if we would have made that play or that throw or that catch, right? Being better situationally, so third down, third and short, got to have situations. I would say those three are probably the things that stand out the most. And I think we have a good plan going into this week in terms of what the mentality is going to be, in terms of what we want to do. So I feel pretty good about it.
In terms of just even just learning the offense and getting used to the receivers and building chemistry. Even Greg Bell first game, and offensive line. There's so many new pieces here. How important is it to kind of stay confident as well and just moving and learning this offense?
Yeah, I've tried to tell as many people as I can that this is going to be a process for us. This is going to take some time. I know time is not always on your side in pro sports, but I think the reality is that great things and things that are built take time. And we're going to do everything we can to, kind of expedite that process and make sure that we're a better football team than we were last week. And then just like little detail things and things that I would expect from the receiver room and vice versa, are going to be things that are just going to naturally improve over time.
Your reaction to the trade of Drew Brown?
My reaction is I love Drew. I wish Drew the best. I wish his family the best. I got to know his family pretty well the last month or so. We're going to be boys forever, as long as we're both up here in this league, and then even beyond that. But yeah, my reaction is I'm just happy for Drew that he gets to take the next step in his career, and I'm pray that him and his family have a very safe and efficient move, and everything goes well.
The coach was talking about how it went down and talking to him after he decided I knew he was going to be the number one guy.
Yep.
Drew was obviously unhappy right from that moment. Did he talk to you about it at all, like as a friend?
We've had plenty of private conversations that'll stay private between us that are about a number of things. I feel like we both have a very similar life, and so it was really easy for us to lean on each other. We have a very similar career arc as well in terms of being a guy that's played, every single game for an organization, being a backup, being benched, you name it. I feel like we both lived very similar things in this league, so it was easy to have those conversations and be as candid as we could with each other, and it was really healthy. So it was nice.
McLeod Bethel Thompson, what are your thoughts about the addition of?
Yeah, I mean it's something that's absolutely necessary for our football team. There's no doubt about it. I think everybody, at least all the great teams in this league that are winning championships, roll into games with the ability to have a great, depth plan at quarterback. So I'm not naive to that at all. It's going to be something that's going to help me probably personally, just because I've always respected his game, and I think he's a heck of a player, and I've always kind of watched his tape from afar as like, okay, a guy that's truly going to hang in there and deliver throws. Now I get to get a front row seat of that and pick his brain a little bit, so I'm excited.
I think I know your answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyways. So, is it now more of a? Do you think of it as more of a challenge to your position to have a guy like him who's better suited to Dinwiddie's offense and who somebody that won a Grey Cup with Dinwiddie? Does that put more of a sort of a? I don't know, pressure is the right word, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying. I would just say I left a lot of those things, those dynamics, those mental thoughts behind me a handful of years ago. I am super grateful and blessed that my name's penciled into the lineup here to play quarterback for this football team, and I will proudly and work my tail off every single day as long as I have that opportunity, and I'm never going to take it for granted. And so I don't worry about the potential outcomes or what directions these things can go. That's not for my energy. That's not necessary for my time. I'm the starting quarterback this week in week 3, and then we'll circle back on the next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to McLeod at all?
I haven't. Probably plan on doing that today. I was going to send him a text last night, but I figured he was probably trying to wrap his head around what he's about to do next, and kind of talking with coach, and he's got some stuff he's going to do before he heads out here anyway. So yeah, I'm sure sometime this week I'll be able to reach out and say, hey man, welcome.
I think I know you're going to say this too, but given Montreal losing that game last week, they're already going to be a tough challenge. Does that, in your mind, even make it a tougher challenge? They're going to be hungry to get back.
Yeah, I mean they're good, man. They're what? I mean, Jason Moss has been there 3 years now. He's been to 2 Grey Cups. Out of those 3 years, he's been in the East Final and the other one. Those guys, man, they got it rolling. They got it built. They have the organization in a place that they feel content with. They got a quarterback who does a lot of winning and is hyper competitive, and it's one of those things, man, where they're a challenge. Whether they win, lose, or draw, they're a challenge. I mean, they had a set of games last year where it wasn't going their way. Because their culture's so strong, they were able to rebound and still make the Grey Cup, right? So it doesn't matter. They're going to be tough.